Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Eternal Card Breakdown. My name is Pojo, and we have another spoiler coming up today. This is Jolu the Gift Giver. It is free for the next 6 days, so if you play it and win a game anytime in between now and January 1st, you'll get at least one free copy, and you can, of course, get up to 4 free copies of Jolu. Jolu is a 3/3 with Summon. You may give the enemy player one of your other units to steal one of theirs with the same cost or less in Winchest colors, so red, green, and purple. It is a tinker, so yeah, she definitely does some pretty interesting stuff overall. We're gonna talk about it, some of the different things that you can give, but overall I want to say I do like the design of this card. This is a really nice sort of Christmas promo card because A, it definitely has that sort of Christmas feel to it. B, it's a little bit sassy. It definitely kind of evokes the guilt of gift giving sort of joke, I would say. It's just oh yeah, I gave you something, and then just sort of waiting expectantly. Yeah, definitely a selfish card, and so it's somewhat humorous. And I think the thing that I like about it the most is that it is a card that definitely doesn't feel like a Christmas promo. You will definitely be playing this in decks pretty deep into next year, and it won't necessarily be relevant as a Christmas promo. It won't be obviously a Christmas promo like, say, the Merriest Mandrake. In any case, the Gift Giver has a pretty unique ability. This is the Donate ability. This is not something that has been printed in Eternal before. It's actually pretty hard to give stuff to people in Eternal. So as a unique effect, she'll have some value as just a straight up combo piece or throne expedition. Just if you want to do something with giving your opponent bad units or giving your opponent units that actively harm them, this is the card to do that with. The main issue is that there aren't actually all that many units that actively harm your opponent. There's Impending Doom, and there's Blood Taker, I think it's called, the one cost elf that's a 2/3. There's a couple that slowly damage your opponent over time, but there's not that many that actually really badly hurt them or do anything terribly nasty in exchange. So this is something where you definitely are going to be more about giving your opponent rather useless gifts than actively harmful gifts, but there are plenty of actively useful gifts, and also there are a lot of cards that would influence your units in order to make them useless, such as Permafrost. Other cursed relics of that kind can definitely make Jolu the Gift Giver significantly better, since if you have a unit that gets axed with a martial efficiency or shut down with Permafrost or in any way locked down, then you can just give it to your opponent and you get a 3/3 of your own, and you get to steal one of their units, and you get to steal it permanently because Jolu the Gift Giver is not, while it is out, it is one of the only unit steal effects that permanently gives you the unit that you are stealing, which is super cool. Yeah, in Throne, there's a lot of extra stuff that you can do with this because Throne has access to corrupted cards, and so there are a lot of corrupted shades that you can donate that will have the same cost as their particular setup. Otherwise, you're probably going to be going for cards that have useful summon effects but very cheap summon effects. So things that like Amber Acolyte, for example, is a 3-drop that would draw you a power. If you have something along that line where it doesn't have a very good stat line, it has a great summon effect. You play it, you get the summon effect, and then you play Jolu the Gift Giver, you feel pretty happy about that. So to that extent, definitely anything that adds a bit of a donation. Cards with revenge that have already expended their revenge are kind of interesting, although giving your opponent a Destiny unit may not be that great an idea. Anything with regen that also has used its regen to block or trade in some way. There's a lot of different things that can sort of be expended and then be given away as gifts to get something else of better value in return. Now, this may not end up being a super meta card just because the reward for giving your opponent something is that you get to steal something of theirs, which means that you do have to have a board with useful units on it to steal, and a board where you are playing units that are not as useful, or at least not as good on board on the turn that they are played. So that makes it a little bit difficult to sort of switch things up in the way that you might want to. Obviously, there's a lot of different possibilities for what you can do, but there are certainly there's just not always going to be something for you to steal off of Jolu, and since the cost is pretty high to steal off of Jolu, you're definitely going to want to build the deck to be somewhat focused around it, or at least build the deck with this synergy in mind, but maybe not as the core synergy of the deck. So to that extent, she's really only a B or C card, but Overall, the design is really, really strong, and she does fit in places that she wouldn't otherwise. And she's a generally pretty powerful card, like overall. Like 3 for a 3/3 is just a decent stat line. The 3 different colors is a little hard to get at one in like 3 turns, but with cards like the fountains or the paintings being available to get that first 2 influence very easily, the 3rd influence is usually not as hard in the current format. And you can always do stuff like diplomatic seals or like other sorts of setups to get to Jolu a little bit faster. I think this card is one of those ones that may not wheel particularly well in the current expedition, like just might not be an amazing card to swing with in the current setup, but definitely will become relevant in later setups as well. So this is a good time to get and play some Eternal games over the Christmas holidays and get yourself a gift giver as a gift. That's really all I have to say about this one. I do think that there's like a lot of interesting donation plans to be sure to be fiddled with, but we'll probably be covering those in later Eternal Brews. Certainly, like I like the idea of giving people tokens generated by stuff like Grenadin or corrupted tokens. Those are excellent. Anything where you have a created card that just isn't all that valuable. The very simple answer would be something like Cheerful Shepherd, where you just have a 0/1 and then you get a better unit off of that, or Marison's Disciple. All of these cards are not in the colors of Jolu, so most likely you're going to be looking at corrupted stuff in Throne and looking at like ways to sort of basically trade away your own like disabled cards for value. But I think that there is definitely some decent strength in that, and so the card should have some value in the meta overall. And it's just a really fun card to play with, so you'll definitely want to build some decks with it. All right. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. We are gone over the Christmas holidays, but we will be putting up some YouTube videos in the meantime, assuming I can get them all edited and ready before Christmas break, which should be happening today. So yeah, I'll let everyone know. I'm on Twitter as LocoPojo, and I'll let you know how many we've got finished and what we're going to put up when that happens. So thank you so much for watching. As always, I am LocoPojo on YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and Twitter, and you can find me and support me in all of those places. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.